Greetings and welcome to TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And this is me, Oberon, with Goth Tarot. It's the weekly look into our shadow issues and find ways we can maybe get better. So we do this by pulling a number of cards from various sources, and we kind of outline a particular shadow energy or effect that we may deal with over the course of a month's time. So last week we began that process with what I would call the Dark Passenger. And we've had this one before, so it's coming back sort of indicates maybe we're not done with it yet. The Dark Passenger. I create a sympathetic inner dialogue. So I'm going to review this shortly, and then we're going to begin the program proper. But I just want people to keep these things in mind. And as I speak here, I am speaking from the voice of that shadow. I am with you because you gave into who you are. You grew into who you are today. Your daily life was filled with great fear, immense anger, and considerable trauma. When you were younger, you considered serenity, love, and happiness as distant pipe dreams. You grew up flat on the ground, yet I know you did everything you could to get back up. So I protect you from what you don't know, and when you let yourself be led by me, you stay focused only on yourself and never confront your fears. I halt every action aimed at change. So a lot of that is really about, the ways we find to deny our problems. So that's the Dark Passenger. We're going to open with a reading from the Oracle of the Hecatean Path. Asteria, dreams. Hecate's mother was the Titaness who presided over nighttime divinations through dreams and the stars. Her gifts were passed to her daughter, who was known as the sender of nocturnal visions. Dream symbolism is immensely personal and can be a channel of communication from spirits and the divine. Take heed of your dreams. Ask for insight. Hecate can help you decipher the code of your subconscious. So I don't think that has anything in particular for us towards our main shadow work. Let's just treat that as a favorable card to read, and that maybe, we do need to pay more attention to our dreams. So let's move on then. And the first thing first, we want to take a look at the progress we may be making on working with our shadow. So I'm going to use the Erethereal Shadow Work Tarot for an update. In the first week's reading, we used several cards from this deck to round out that concept that we're working with, in this case, the Dark Passenger. It's the King of Wands. So the King of Wands usually represents somebody that has a clear idea of their own sense of confidence and charisma. They know exactly what they want to be and how they want to do it. And they're very aware of where their power can take them. And so this, I think, in terms of the Dark Passenger, suggests we need to find ways to become more confident, to own that shadow in a way, and to cast our own beautiful light into this fray here. We need to challenge all the things that we find ourselves in denial with from the Dark Passenger. We remember from last week that a lot of the Dark Passenger just sort of seems to be making excuses for what we can or can't do. And so the presence of the King of Wands tells us that we really can do these things, but we're not quite able to see ourselves in that role. This is our goal then in this next week, is to find ways to really express bravery towards this goal. Okay. So now we're going to throw some additional cards from several other decks, and some of these will have a relationship towards the main theme. First of all, we're going to use the Midnight Boulevard to look at what we call the Dark Detour. And this is kind of the meat of dealing with the Dark Passenger, is that the passenger finds a way to make a detour, and it's a distraction. It's a way of saying, look, there's a squirrel over there, or whatever, something comparable. But this idea being that we are trying to undervalue our own problems by making it out that maybe there's something else that's a bigger problem or a bigger situation for us. A detour. So once again, like I said, that's the Midnight Boulevard. What is the Dark Detour? It's the upright Four of Pentacles. These things are mine and mine alone. These things are not meant to be shared. This is my own situation. I am exactly in control. I own all this, and I don't really need your help. that would be the kind of reasoning that the Dark Detour is a way of suggesting there is no problem. You are in control. You own it. You have this down pat. You are owning that. And of course, that's creating a bigger shield of denial, which was the main problem. So be aware of this. Realize that just like we saw from the King of Wands, it's not a sign of weakness to admit that you need some help. And so in this sense, the King of Wands could even represent our better nature, being charismatic and noble and confident enough to be able to ask somebody for help. And maybe that's what's needed here, is we need to think about letting it be known that we need help. So let's move on to the Dark Twist, which I take from the Black Tarot. And the Dark Twist is what it says it is. It's the unknown factors that you weren't expecting, the unknown actors or factors who just somehow came along and created a true diversion, but it's one that you're not affecting and you're not really in control of. How can you react to that? How can you compensate for factors that you didn't know existed or that you weren't expecting to be there? Or is there a way that these twists make things better or worse? Will they break down your pattern of denial? All right, what is our dark twist? The unexpected. It's the reversed Six of Swords. Let's show that again. The dark twist is that something is here to remind you that you really can't get out of this situation easily. You can't take that detour. You have to kind of stay there and deal with things as they are. And you weren't expecting that. You probably thought that maybe the dark detour, the way you were trying to divert from the issue, or anything even similar, would just kind of keep you moving in the direction of protecting your dark passenger and not really dealing with it. Now, admittedly, some of us may be doing better. This is for everyone else. But the Six of Swords says something will happen, some factor, actor will occur that will make you realize you can't move on. You have to deal with this. You have to resolve the situation. But alas, it's very draining. And something in particular is very draining. All of this is creating a dark spiral somewhere in your life. Something that's vampiric in a way. It could be a sense of a psychic vampirism. I'm going to use the Vampire's Tarot to try to tell us, what is this thing? Maybe it's a person, but more likely it's It's a practice or a situation or a feeling we have about those things, and it utterly drains us. And in that draining, we don't have the strength to affect our better credibilities or gifts, like the dark gift that was in last week's original segment. We're letting ourselves become powerless, and usually that's the key word. We're letting ourselves, because the dark spiral, the sense of psychic vampirism, is nearly always a mutual thing. And so maybe there's something about the overall shadow of the dark passenger that makes you easier to be vampirized, to give up your own energy to somebody else who maybe only thinks they're helping you, but they don't realize how much of a vampire they are. I tend to doubt that when it comes to psychic vampires. They usually know what they're doing. They're just in denial in a different way. So what is this dark spiral? What is this draining effect on you? Oddly enough, it's the star. It's upright. But the vampire's tarot star is like a dark destiny. And so what drains you is maybe the idea that you have a dark destiny in front of you where mostly you expect things only to work in that dark negative way, and that anything that feels good or successful comes to you in a twisted, darker version. It might be something you could be used to as a goth personality, but it's still going to bring a lot of codependency and a lot of unnecessary fear and awkward behaviors you're going to have. And maybe the idea that you could actually find your way beyond this to a better destiny of the star is a draining concept to you, because you really don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe that you could defeat this thing. This is Super Tarot Love Month, so we're trying to put a little extra emphasis on emotional relationships or attractions or realizations in our lives. So I've decided to add one extra card to this reading, and I'm going to call it the Dark-Hearted Twist. So it's like the Dark Twist, only it represents the idea of maybe something unknown that appreciates you. They may not necessarily be in the opinion, in the way of being able to help you in any way, but I don't want to call it a secret crush. You know, it's tempting. It's Valentine's Day, and it's Super Tarot Love Month. I think of this as an obsession person or situation that, even though that twist is there, it might be something you should know about. It might be something that could be helpful. Who am I kidding? I'm just doing this for the gratuitous idea of Super Tarot Love Month. But here it is. What is your dark-hearted twist? It's the Two of Swords reversed. The dark-hearted twist is someone or something that maybe really does want to help you, maybe wants to bring you into an active mode where you can really decide to do something rather than just thinking about what all these things are about, thinking about how it hurts you or how it affects you or how you can't deal with it. Something else says you need to kick it into gear. I don't know if that's a person in your life now or not, but I guess it's a twist because it just comes from where you didn't expect it to. Who loves you, baby? Super Tarot Love Month in action. All right, we're going to wrap this up with a final card and possible meditation from the Cosmic Crossroads Oracle. I've used it here before. I've used it, I think, on the second week of the month program. So here we go. It's confusion. There are times in life when we might lose ourselves within the reality of another, in their truth, their patterns, and their pain. When this happens, it can be hard to distinguish between what we are responsible for and what we are not. And this confusion can be multiplied when we love the person we have become entangled with. If you pull this card, your understanding of what is true might be influenced now by another. It is time to feel into your intuition regarding any current confusion. So it's kind of interesting because, of course, the card I pulled directly before this was the possibility of somebody who's drawn to you or your possible, romantic interest of some sort for Super Tarot Love Month at least. And we got the idea that it was time to act, that maybe that's what they were there to say. But maybe that only adds a level of confusion where we don't really understand for sure. And that maybe we really still need to be thinking about all this. But wait, there's more. Close your eyes and imagine a flame of love burning brightly. And feel this flame within your center and let it glow until it radiates love throughout your entire being. From this place, see yourself standing in the golden rays of love and light, and around you reside the gray clouds of confusion. Let your light grow until it dissolves. Let the clouds dissolve, and once they have dissipated, look at what remains. It might be a person, or an object, or a scene. Whatever it is, try to be open to what is revealed. It comes to you now to help you better understand your present moment. Affirmation. I am able to center myself and see through the confusion that surrounds me. When I see the truth, The universe eagerly responds to my request. The truths revealed now are for my benefit and for the benefit of all involved. In all things I know the truth is for the greatest good in my life. So I hope you got something from that. I think there were a couple different kinds of answers here for different people that may be dealing with these kind of shadow issues. It may be one thing to realize that we can step up, we can find our sense of bravery and nobility to deal with this particular shadow. But we have to consider also too our own feelings that still reflect a sense of helplessness and codependency here. And so maybe more work is still needed, and we possibly need to really sound these things out with people that we trust and care about. And that's maybe where confusion comes in, is that depending on how deep this issue bothers you, you really probably need some sort of conversation or dialogue with somebody who's better able to help you work through this, whether they're just somebody who really cares and can help you, or somebody who's more professional. So I wanted to leave you with that, and I want to thank everybody for coming again. These cards were pretty interesting, so I hope they worked for you. I'm going to let us go now, but I want to remind everybody to check out our live show tomorrow night. If you have particular questions about any of this, maybe you should bring them to our show. But whatever questions you have, of course, they're welcome there. Friday's my emotional exchange, and Banshee will guest star with me. So I know some of you may want to check that out. She'll help me do some readings, and maybe we'll even have another little surprise in store. I haven't quite figured that out, but it is the day before Valentine's Day, and it is Super Tarot Love Month. Also, we are here Saturday for happy hour at its normal time of 10 o'clock. And then on Sunday, Banshee's Material Matters at 10 o'clock. And our Sunday afternoon live show from 2 to 4 p.m. So that's it, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next time.